Okay, then 4 o'clock it is. I'd like to welcome everyone and start off by saying, geez, it seems like yesterday we were all here. It's fine. It is, yes. And I'll call this meeting to order at 4 o'clock. And please stand and join me to the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we clicking the got it on there so that that clears off the screen?
The what?
Got it.
Got it.
Look at the computer screen.
Oh.
Thank you.
All right. 1.2, adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt the agenda as posted.
And a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Jerry?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
And I also agree. Motion carries. There is no consent agenda, so moving on to public comments not on the agenda, which is 3.1. Comments by the public. Under this item, the public is invited to address the board regarding items that are not on today's agenda. Please keep your comments concise, brief, and limited to 3 minutes. The board is not allowed under law to take action on matters that are not on the agenda. Should comments from the public pertain to a charge or complaint against an employee of Northern United Humboldt Charter School or Northern United Siskiyou Charter School, the board encourages the speaker to utilize the school's written complaint procedures to pursue the matter. The public will have an opportunity to comment on all agenda items as those items are heard. And moving on to,
There's public.
oh,
You gotta give them a chance to talk.
really? I'm supposed to do that.
I just read it and move on.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to take the time to introduce Kelly Withers. She's gonna be our new chief business official. And she starts on Monday. Hi. Thank you.
So it's a
Welcome.
goodbye and a hello.
And this is.
Talk a little bit so that the owl cameras spins over so we can see you.
Kelly, if you say a word, then the camera will move for you.
Oh. Hi. Did it move?
No.
Keep talking a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet everyone.
Not moving it up. It's probably out of the field of vision.
No, it's 360.
Is it?
That's, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, it's slow.
Yeah.
I do feel like it takes a long time, like people have to talk for a while before it catches up. Like it just now caught up to me.
I didn't prepare anything today.
Well, just birthday or something. You could,
There she is.
oh yeah,
Hi.
You're good.
Oh, she's over there. There we go.
Yeah.
all right, thank you, public.
Thank you, public. 3 minutes are up.
Yeah.
Talk to that Al did, just for the record.
Moving on to action items. 4.1, approval of the 2023-2024 local control accountability plan for NU Humboldt.
Okay, so we reviewed this yesterday when we had the public hearing, and we didn't have any additional feedback from the public from the one that was posted. So I am just asking for approval of the LCAP for Humboldt that was in your packet with no changes.
Any comments or questions for Sherry?
No.
Okay,
Maybe
hearing none,
yesterday.
is there a motion?
A motion to approve the 23-24 local control and accountability plan for Northern United Humboldt.
And a second?
I seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry?
I,
Melissa?
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 4.2, approval of the 2023-2024 local accountability, control and accountability plan for NUCS.
Right, and same here, we had held the public hearing yesterday and there was no additional input. So the LCAP and budget overview for parents and annual updates and everything all stayed the same as what was in your packet. So I'm just asking for approval.
Any questions or comments? And hearing none, is there a motion?
go ahead, Melissa.
I motion to approve the 2023-24 local control and accountability plan for Northern United Siskiyou.
And a second?
I seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
I,
Melissa,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. Moving on to 4.3, approval of 2023-2024 final budget adoption for NU Humboldt.
Okay, so again, we held the public hearing for this yesterday and Tammy gave the executive summary on the budget yesterday. And there were no changes since you saw it in your packet, and so we're asking for adopting the budget as positive.
Any questions or comments? Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the 2023-2024 final budget adoption for Northern United Humboldt Charter School, giving it a positive certification.
And a second?
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
I,
Melissa,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. 4.4, approval of 2023-2024 final budget adoption and budget transfer resolution for NU Siskiyou.
Okay, and so again, we held the public hearing for this yesterday and there were no changes. Just a little reminder that because Siskiyou County Office of Education, since we contract with them to do our budget, they asked for the board to adopt a resolution that allows them to transfer funds as part of creating the budget. And so that is also, approval for that is also needed. So I'm asking for approval of the budget with a positive certification and then approving those the budget transfer resolution, which was in your packet as well.
Any questions or comments?
This needs to be certified as positive as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
correct.
Hearing no further questions, is there a motion?
I motion to approve the 2023-24 final budget adoption and budget transfer resolution for Northern United Siskiyou and certified as positive.
And a second?
I seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
I,
Melissa,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. Moving on to 4.5, approval of LCFF local indicator data report for NU Humboldt.
Well, that's a mouthful.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so maybe I should have spelled out that LCFF, but then I don't even know if it would have fit on the agenda. Local control funding formula is what that LCFF stands for. And so we do this every year. I don't know if you remember it. It has, from year to year, it has changed when we actually do this. Some years it has been in the fall, like early on, it was in the fall. Now we're doing it at the same meeting, the same board meeting that the LCAP is adopted. So that's why this is on this particular agenda. But what this is they are additional metrics that the state asks schools in California to keep track of. There are 8 state priorities that the state wants all the schools to keep track of and to publish so that people can see what our metrics are within these priorities. So these metrics are determined, the data comes from, some of them are surveys, some of them like the facilities inspection tool, or the FIT is where some of them comes from. And then now there's one that's pre-populated from something called CalSAS, which is the database that our teacher credentialing information is now part of. CTC and CalPADS now finally talk. They met and had a baby that they called CalSAS. And that data is now going to be pre-populated on these, but we used to have to put it in here. But anyway, you could see, it was in your packet, so you guys saw all the information. And what happens is this survey information, all of this data was from this fiscal year that is now ending, the 22-23 fiscal year. But in the fall, I will record all of this data into a state database. I have to upload all of this information in there, and then it becomes public. So it becomes public next school year, and so people next school year will see what our data was for this past year. We're always kind of a year behind in terms of what the public sees. And then I'll start collecting this information again next year. So, and the way that this works, you might remember me talking about this in the past. You put all this data in, and you either are met or not met for each of these priorities. But all met means is that you collected the data, you showed it to your board, you adopted it in the same meeting that your LCAP was adopted, and that you put it into the state database on time. That's what met means. So like you could bomb all the data and still have met on the dashboard. Yeah, that's what met means. So anyway, so I will be sure to get all of this inputted in the fall so that we have met our goal.
Well, thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I think that's important
Yeah.
to know, because otherwise we assume
Yeah. Yeah.
something very different.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just asking for approval for this, for the local indicator.
Melissa, do you have any questions or comments?
Nope, thank you though for that explanation. I do remember last year, but every year it's like, oh yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
okay. Hearing no further comments or questions, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the LCFF local indicator data report for Northern United Humboldt Charter School.
And a second?
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
and I also agree, motion carries. Moving on to 4.6, approval of LCFF local indicator data report for NUCS.
All right, same. One thing I did notice in the packet, I'm going to tell on myself, I see a typo on the background sheet. And instead of it saying the State Board of Education, it says the Stale Board of Education.
Maybe not a typo.
But yeah, this is all of the same information.
That's
This one
cute.
is just the data from Siskiyou.
That's cute.
Any questions or comments for Sherry? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I motion to approve the LCFF local indicator data report for Northern United Siskiyou Charter School.
And a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, Jerry,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
And I also agree, motion carries. 4.7, approval of board officer roles for NUCS board handbook.
Okay, well, we talked about this at the last meeting. Maybe we've talked about it for the last two, I think.
A couple we
Yeah,
have, yes.
yeah, and so this is what we ended the last meeting with, and so we discussed putting it on here as an action item, and if you have any changes, if you noticed anything, if you thought of any additions. I think after our last meeting, Jerry, I think you emailed me some additions, which I think I got on there. So I don't know if there's any, if you guys are ready to vote on it, or if you have more discussion.
Melissa, any questions or comments?
I don't think I would know any better than you guys what the roles actually are. It's actually illuminating for me. I guess the only thing I was kind of wondering is, and maybe I'm drawing a blank, but is there an area that has a kind of bulleted outline of what just a common board member's role is as well as the officer? And I was wondering if there isn't,
I don't think so.
should
I
it kind
feel
of
like maybe
include?
in the board, I think in the board handbook that we've been working, I think there's kind of more of a generic one, and but it didn't spell out the officers, and so I think it does talk about the role of a board member in general.
Right, responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it is in the handbook, earlier in the handbook. I can look at it and double check. I have it handy.
And I think you're right. I just was kind of wanting to double check.
We'll have that answer real soon.
So what,
Jerry?
well, what do you think?
You know, every time I look at this, I think, well, yes, it looks complete. Until we get into a group setting and somebody makes a comment, and then I go, well, why didn't that jump out at me?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess, as the former chairperson and one who had served for a little
Most of the time, our trailblazer.
yeah, I have a sense of what the role
Mhm.
involves, and so it's a given for number one. Consults with the school director, just so that everybody understands that consults means phone calls, emails and texts, and in-person meetings. And so Sherry and I had talked about this, that the dynamic will change should a chairperson be in Siskiyou County. The same things will happen, it's the dynamic will be a bit different. Although Sherry does go to Siskiyou, and then it becomes a matter of coordinating when that person is available while she's there to be able to meet in that. So in my case, being a retired individual, there sometimes yeah, I can run in
Mhm.
and didn't have a conflict. The third bullet is it could be delegated, I suppose, but it was just something that evolved. I took responsibility for doing that to make sure that you know, it got done.
Right.
And then the other thing is and the delivering the final evaluation is in a sealed envelope that goes into her personnel file. But the one thing that's not indicated there is that the chairperson comes in the past, the way it's been done is sort of face to face
Mhm.
to share the sort of an overview of the board's evaluation. So each, I would assume that each chairperson would do it in their own personal style manner. So that's that would be the one thing that is missing. I think it's only fair that the chairperson meet in person with the school director
Mhm.
to share the evaluation and answer any questions and share comments and all of that.
Can
I think that
I,
worked well.
make a
Yeah.
comment about the coordinating the third bullet and all of that? You had indicated that it could be delegated. I don't think it should be. I think that should be something that truly does fall to the chairperson unless there are extenuating circumstances.
Sure, yeah, but that's
Yeah.
fine. I only just mentioned that. I mean, I didn't want it to be so, iron
Yeah.
person, but and that. So I would delivering the final evaluation to the school director, including a face-to-face meeting, sharing the board's evaluation of the
Excuse
director.
me. That made me think of two things I wanted to kind of interject, if that's all right.
Sure.
Maybe how you said face to face, maybe if it was live, just in case it happens to be that one of the, someday the board chair is in Siskiyou, maybe that would have to be over Zoom for whatever reason. So maybe like live, meaning it is face to face, but maybe not necessarily in the same room, right?
Yeah, in person, yeah,
Mhm.
sure.
If that helps. But the other thing you made me think of was that the board chair coordinates the evaluation of the school director. And we've also just started doing an evaluation of the board as well. Is that something that we should include as something that is the chairperson's role to what did
Kind of like instigate it or get it, start
Facilitate.
the ball rolling.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very, very good point, Melissa. Because this is something that we haven't embarked upon yet. But putting my former chairperson hat on, I would envision myself as initiating, facilitating that whole process, and where it's just a matter of getting it started. And
annual thing? Is that correct?
beg pardon?
Annual. She said.
Sure,
it's
yes.
annual. Oh, how would you guys feel about me just taking the beginning of the sentence that's the bullet about my evaluation? And, instead of saying delivering the final evaluation of the school director, doing something like coordinating the evaluation of the board, including distributing, collecting, and compiling evaluation tool? Does that work?
I think it's a great, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, we talked about the idea that I don't know that there's really a lot of compiling. Because remember, I think the thought was you guys would all do it and then talk about it as a whole. It's not like it's getting all compiled into one thing like mine.
yours,
It's
exactly.
really more facilitating a conversation,
It's like a
letting people process.
self-reflective.
So I don't know that compile needs to be in there. but-
No,
No. Just distributing, collecting, and facilitating the discussion.
mhm,
Okay.
I like that.
I'm gonna say distributing and collecting the evaluation tool and facilitating the discussion.
Mhm.
Okay. Nice. Now, did you guys want me to add, I'm sorry, I wasn't, I didn't quite get it. Did you want me to add the thing about delivering the final evaluation to the school director? Did you want me to put the word, not in person, but live or something like that? Or do you think we don't need to clarify it?
To me, where it says delivering, I
Implies
could throw
that
it
it's-
underneath your door and.
Yeah, but delivering means just to
No.
deliver the
Yeah,
final product.
So should we
Exactly.
say delivering and meeting or delivering and discussing the final evaluation?
Meeting to discuss, maybe.
Okay, delivering and meeting with the school director to discuss the final evaluation. Okay. Okay,
What do you think, Rosemary, since you
Yeah.
just did it?
Yeah. I think I think it worked out well, other than my form was, as our Bianca would have said, a little wonky. But I think that it worked well, compiled everything, met with Sherry, gave her 2 copies, one for herself, one was in a sealed envelope. When I returned home, I notified my fellow board members that I had met, or we had met, and it was over for the year, so to speak.
Okay, so we, then you've added that
I think
one about
so,
the
yeah, so
board
what I
evaluation.
did is, yeah, so coordinates the evaluation of the school director, including distributing, collecting, compiling, and delivering the final evaluation. Then I did a new bullet that said meets with the school director to discuss the final evaluation. And then I did another bullet, coordinates the evaluation of the board, including distributing and collecting the evaluation tool and facilitating the discussion.
Okay, good. Okay, so then, the 4th bullet, negotiates at the board's discretion for the school director contract. That's correct, and if I'm correct, that will come up this coming school year.
Mhm.
Yay,
Because it was because it was a 2-year,
I think it's a 3-year.
Oh, it was a
And next
3-year.
year will be my 3rd.
okay.
So in the spring or something of next year.
Yeah, start, at least start in March.
Yes,
The point of contact for all board members, including attendance and information. Glad that that's clarified. Signs documents requiring, that's a given, because there are certain things that just by the nature of the item, a contract or an agreement or state, county thing
mhm,
requires the chairperson's signature, or other things that as the director sees fit, signs the diplomas, which sometimes a couple times a year. And along with the signing the diplomas, one of the things that has never been, a protocol for, Northern United is, having board members attend graduation.
It's been, loose.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, I'm just, recalling, the first year, the first time, you know, when we had brought up and talked about, oh, graduation is such and such time, and I remember, you know, bringing up, you know, mentioning that, following up on when it was going to be, and I think it'd be a good idea for me to attend. And some districts have the idea that it's part of graduation that all board members be there. Either participating or just be present, and that was never a given for us. I don't know if we'd like to still keep it informal or not.
Well, I know that, I think it was last year, maybe you were unable to attend and Bianca came
Bianca did,
over
right?
to do that. And, I think that where you're signing diplomas and whatnot, that should also be part of the package. And not just the high school. I think that when our students leave the elementary or middle setting and go on, I think that it's important that somebody is there also.
Yeah, yes, and I don't know how it was with your school board, but I can remember in Hydesville that we were all there, and because at the one time I was the chairperson, and so, you know, I was first in the row of, you know, handing out the little certificate.
And in my,
So Rosemary, keep in mind, we have multiple 8th grade graduations. We've got one that happens in Willow Creek, one that happens in Bryceland, one that happens here.
so it's not just, I gotcha, okay,
Yeah, and seeing that also, you know, that complicates
yeah, okay.
the thing, but
I thought
at
it was
least
just,
the high school,
yeah, the high school, they're all together.
because
And,
if I recall, Bianca went to the ones in Siskiyou. Is that right, Kurt?
She did.
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And in my
So should
former
we,
life, there was always a board rep at the elementary. Not that we have just an elementary, but as.
Well, the one in Bryceland is.
I would
6th
say.
grade.
Yeah.
Graduation center.
so,
Good.
I think we should consider.
I do too.
Adding that.
Mhm.
Okay, so should I just say, signs and, signs
signs
and just another bullet that says
Attends graduation.
attends graduation
High school
and
graduation.
distributes diplomas.
So then we would
Rosemary.
expect, for instance, Rosemary to come here for
Right.
high school graduation, right?
Right.
For instance.
Well,
Yeah.
Or maybe under like,
Or a board member.
yeah, maybe under that other section, Sherry, that you were reviewing earlier about like
Yeah.
general board role, like that, that we all attempt, you know, to attend. And so it's as it becomes expected. I was thinking about it this year too, especially with Bianca not here, and the time just got away and I missed them, but I was like, oh, I really should be at those graduations. I agree that we should be trying to attend these.
Yeah, I think under, you know, the general roles and responsibilities, that's a good place to add. that all board members are encouraged to attend graduations when possible. And just under normal circumstances, the dynamic is we have chairperson in one county, the vice chairperson in the other county, and prior practice was that the chairperson in the one county, and as it turned out, Humboldt, attended the graduation, and then the vice chairperson in Siskiyou attended that graduation.
Mhm.
And so, that would, because we have chairperson and vice chairperson, we could add that, making the distinction of their county of residence. So.
That seems like a good place to at least make sure there's somebody trying to attend where they are. And in this case, both chairpersons, and vice chairperson are in Humboldt, but that would be something we would work out, right? Ourselves,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, so you could make a statement that, the chairperson would attend the high school graduation in their county. And then the vice chairperson would attend the high school graduation in their county.
Mhm.
Then
And all
gi-
board
giving
members are
the-
encouraged
Yeah.
to attend.
So should we not have this on the chairperson? And vice chair, do you think we should put these on here then? Because that doesn't work with what we have right now.
Not with what we
Mhm.
have. Mm-mm.
Well, I like what Melissa said about putting it in the general.
I put it in there,
Section.
yeah, I went to the handbook and I found a place where it seemed most appropriate to put that, attends graduation ceremonies for the general.
Mhm.
And
Well,
I
that's
don't
all
think it would,
members.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't
But
think it would
then-
hurt if both chair and vice chair were to attend the same county's graduation, so I think it still could be appropriate to put it as a bullet for both.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, makes sense to me, done.
Gives the opening, welcoming statement for candidate interviews. That's, I think a good responsibility for the chairperson. And again, it's just in brainstorming with Sherry, it just occurred to me that, I should have an opening statement, stating, and I reviewed it with her and we tweaked it and came up with that. And then taking off from that, one of the things that happened in the beginning, what's the gathering before school starts?
Fall summit.
The summit, the fall summit, that both, the very first one, after the formation, both Rosemary and I were there. That might not be it could be optional. I think it's because we're all in this together.
Right.
We're all a big
Similar
family.
to the other statement where the board is encouraged to attend the fall summit.
In that same location where I put that about the graduations, I could say something like graduation ceremonies and other school events or something like that, and that covers, because I know you go to a lot of things.
I try to go to as many as I can, yes.
And
I think that's good because it reminds us not only are we welcome, but that that it's good for us to be there.
yeah, absolutely.
It's good for people to see.
Right. the next to last bullet, liaison between board and the director. That's a given. And then the last one is a catch-all that appears. It's ubiquitous. It's everywhere in all kinds of job descriptions and so
Yeah.
on, and other duties as.
As a thought.
As a sign.
Yeah. So, and then the vice chair, with, you know, the exception of, board meetings, that's fine.
With the
Wow.
addition of to attend graduation, high school graduation, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, I put that in there.
And so with that,
I think I got all the changes.
well,
done
good,
there.
and with that, I think we have concluded the revisions, the updates to the handbook that started long ago. And
Jerry, the veins in your neck are starting to come out here. It's been a long process.
yeah, and we put to paper what a general practice had been since day one. So clarification, understanding. So good. And it's been a great group effort.
Mhm.
And a good review of it while in the process.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
That's been helpful for me. I can see a lot better now what we all do and what's expected, so that's great.
but we continue to evolve and grow.
Yeah, because, you know, we're assumed to be identified benefit of all this. We're looking at bringing on a new board member, hopefully soon. And now we have a process
Uh-huh.
to rely on.
And as we've said from the very beginning, it's not always gonna be just us. And so we want everything in black and white, so to speak, for those that come behind us. And so I think that we've done a good job of trying to do that. Not just with this, but every time we have a revision of some kind. We just really try to put it in very, very easy to follow procedures and terms and such. All right, any other comments or questions? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the board officer roles as amended for Northern United Charter School Board Handbook.
And a second?
I second.
It's
That was
been,
Melissa.
that was Melissa, yes. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Jerry, Amy,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
and I also agree. Motion carries. Job well done, team. We have no reports. So moving on to 6.1, possible agenda items.
Oh, boy, that's too far from now to even think about. I think the August board meeting is all of the new hires, like all the staff, approving all of the staff. I don't even remember what else is on the August board meeting. That's all I can think of right now. There will be stuff, I know that,
Stuff.
yeah.
Does anyone have anything to add? Any comments, questions?
I added mine yesterday.
I do, yeah. Oh, you have to speak up, or move over here so I can see you.
That's my little corner. I just want to take this time to thank Tammy for all the years that she's given to the school, both Nicole and the NUCS.
Yes.
As this is her last day here.
And her last board meeting.
And I was introducing Kelly and you put me on the 3 minutes, so I didn't do the other part.
The last time I didn't hold to that 3 minutes, we were like a half hour into it.
So anyway, that's just my addition.
Thank you,
Thank
Tammy.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And one thing that I would like to add for possible agenda items, something that Jerry and I have talked about back and forth in our meetings, and that is a fall and a spring group meeting as we've had in the past. And now that Siskiyou has a new facility or a new home, would be an excellent time for us to visit that. And so I want to keep that alive. Any other comments on that? No. Okay. Moving on to 6.2, our next board meeting will be August the 9th. And I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Have a wonderful summer, and we will be back here for our first meeting of the 2023-24 school year on August the 9th. And at 4:47, I will adjourn the meeting.
Good job.